Once upon a time, I lived in New York City, and it wasn't always a fairy tale, and it wasn't always pretty, but I had good friends, a good fortune, and we dreamed about fame and success.
It's time for another review. You guys really seem to be into the last one. I didn't think that many random people who don't follow my other pages were going to find it, but you did, so I'm glad that you're into it. And we're back here today to talk about Frozen. Yes, I saw Frozen more than a week ago, but I haven't really had time to film this, so I wanted to wait until I could really just like center myself, think about my opinions about the show, and really give you an honest opinion, but have a moment away from kind of the shock of how different things are and stuff like that. I also went with my husband, who is not a theater person, so I have a little bit of tidbits from him that will let you know what someone who's never seen the movie and doesn't really know a lot about Broadway would think about it. So that's kind of cool too, I think. So one thing you have to note about this review is that the night that I saw Frozen was literally Understudy Central. I think this is probably showing it to you backwards, but 4 understudies of the leads were on the night that we saw Frozen. That's a lot to be on all at once, especially because one was Anna and the other was Elsa, so I did not see Casey Levy or Patty Marin. So anything that I have to say about the show does not include opinions about the two of them because they weren't there. I'm a huge Disney fanatic, but I'm not 100% purist. I don't think that there's a way to completely 100% translate something from a movie to the stage production, so I understand that things need to be changed, but at the same time, I don't believe that things should be changed willy-nilly without really a theatrical purpose for it. So we're going to talk about those things in this review, and now I'm going to tell you the names of the understudies that were on August 24th when I saw the show, the 8 p.m. show. I want to make sure that I get all the names correctly because these are not people that I knew or knew of previously. So on for Bulda was Alicia Albright, on for Elsa was Alyssa Fox, on for Anna was Aisha Jackson, and on for Wesselton was Jeremy Davis. And of course that is adult Anna and Elsa. The young Anna and Elsa switch off all the time, so they're gonna be different no matter what we do. While we go through this, I am going to keep up on my list of songs and scenes because, as we've discussed, although I know the movie Frozen like the back of my hand, the show does have differences, and I want to make sure that I get them correct. The set was phenomenal. The set and the costuming in general, the entire design aspect, lighting, all of it, so wonderful. Even my husband, who, as I've mentioned, is not a theater person by any means, was blown away by what we saw there. At intermission, he was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like this on stage. Like, he was going on, and he's never even seen Frozen the movie, so he had no reason to be that excited. So it was just really great design work. So A+ there. I can't imagine anything that should be or could be changed about that aspect of it. Double, 2 thumbs way up, A+, whatever you want to say, 10 out of 10, would recommend to a friend. Of course, as with any movie to stage adaptation, there are going to be additional songs and materials that weren't in the movie. I expected that. Most of the ones in Act 1 were great. I have no strong opinion one way or another about them. I thought that they were really good. A Little Bit of You was really adorable between the two girls. I think that wait, we need to talk about the girl who played Little Anna. Little Anna was played by Mattea Conforti the night that we saw it. Blew my mind. She was so good. Little Elsa was fantastic as well, but she has a lot. They're two completely different characters, as obviously they're two completely different characters, but the comedic timing of Little Anna, she's going to be a star when she grows up. She already is, but Little Elsa did a great job at, just maintaining that really stoic kind of internalizing. I think both little girls did a phenomenal job, and I was so impressed by them. I see a lot of shows with kids in them. I work with kids often, and it's really impressive to see not only a variety of emotions out of these kids, but they were consummate performers all around. You don't always get that even on Broadway, so A+ to both of them. While I was sad that I didn't get to see Casey Levy and Patty Marin, I've seen understudies that are more fantastic than the originals, so always open to that. I really loved Alyssa Fox. I think that she did a really good job. Aisha Jackson was a wonderful performer, but she didn't feel like Anna to me. I would have liked to see her in other roles, maybe she feels more like an Ariel character, if you will, than an Anna. It has nothing to do with colorblind casting or anything like that. I think she could be fantastic at many Disney princesses. She just didn't feel like an Anna to me. So that was a little bit hard for me throughout. Like, even vocal quality, she felt like a different person. So that was not my favorite choice. I think she would have been great in many other roles. Maybe even Elsa, I don't know. Maybe it's just that she didn't feel like the fun, exciting little sister that I wanted Anna to be. She felt like a different character, and I didn't love that so much. The other person that I did not love was the portrayal of Hans by John Riddle. That's me looking down at my list to see what his name was. John Riddle, he looked the part of Hans, but I felt like either his choice in line delivery or the direction that he was given, I don't know which it is, didn't feel like Hans. And obviously when you adapt something, you want to do your own version. You don't want it to be exactly the same as Santino. I get that. But there are certain lines where you have to nail it. You know what I mean? Like the line, spoiler alert, hey, don't go on if you haven't seen it yet. The moment when Hans is revealed as a villain and he says to Anna, "Oh, Anna, if only there was someone out there who loved you," or whatever he says. I can't remember the exact wording of what he says, but that's the concept. He's dripping with evil, just telling her, you know, I don't love you the way that I tricked you into thinking I did. And it has to be that menacing kind of evil. And this portrayal was more like, "Oh, Anna, if only someone loved you." And it was like a throwaway when it needed to be like, you know what I mean? It didn't hit. My husband had never seen the movie, and the moment didn't hit him because it was such a throwaway line. And it's a moment where you're supposed to be so mad that you've been tricked. And it didn't really translate. So I didn't love that. Also, the trolls, where were they? And I kind of can see why you would take them out if it was for a costuming issue, but then why do the mountain people have tails? Anyone? Anybody know? Because I could not figure that out. I understand why they would need to change from trolls to mountain people if it was for a costuming thing, or they didn't feel like they could properly portray the trolls on stage. Have mountain people. I'm totally on board with this need for a change, but really, why do they have tails? That part just like didn't really get it. Kristoff. Oh my God. Jelani is perfect. He was so funny. Nailed every line, nailed every moment. And Sven? That puppetry, costuming, whatever you want to call it, is perfection. When he walked out on stage, there was a full 30 seconds of applause because we were all just like, you're perfect. You're Sven on stage in front of us. Why do we love you so much? It was great. So the whole Kristoff and Sven thing, Olaf, equally wonderful. I thought that, hold on, let me get the name correct. Olaf. Greg Hildreth plays Olaf, and I thought that he couldn't have been better. I think that their choice of the way that they did the puppet, kind of like the Timon thing, I think it worked. I don't think that there's another way that they could have done it. The moments were all funny. He sounded just like him. He nailed the lines. So great all around there. The two people who played the King and the Queen, they were fine, just like average. Nothing blew me away about them, but they also weren't bad by any means. And so that was great. Alyssa Fox, who was on for Elsa, was phenomenal. I can't imagine that Casey is any better or Alyssa is any, you know, there's a reason she's a standby, you know what I mean? She's really, really good. Let It Go was smashing. I mean, I was like in tears. I can't imagine that moment having gone any other way. Then we went to intermission and everyone was just like floating. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then we come back from intermission and we have Heidi. Why do we have that song? And what is it? Like, it was the most pointless moment to me. I was like, did the girls need a break? But then Anna's kind of like half in it. And there's like, I don't know, were they trying to like change sets behind it? They could have done anything with that moment. Anything else pretty much would have been fine. I love Kevin, who plays Oaken. He was in Rocky, which I worked on, and he has done other amazing work. I did not love this song. I did not love that moment, and I could have just like used for that to be completely cut out. Goodbye. So that was a big no for me. I also didn't love the way that they did Fixer Upper. Alicia Albright's voice didn't have the strength. So I felt like something was missing because she felt like maybe she was sick. I don't know, maybe she's been going on a bunch because she's an understudy and so she wasn't used to this kind of output of vocal performance, or I really don't know what happened there, but it was just very weak. And I was like, oh, but this is such a great song. And it just, I don't know, there was something off about it for me. Other than that, I liked the other songs that were added. I liked the other changes. Monster was really cool. I think the only other thing was that the ending moment isn't obvious enough what's going on with Anna saving Elsa. Maybe it was the seats we had, I don't know, but it just didn't land for me. I knew what was going on, but I wasn't sure that it translated for people who are seeing this for the first time. And although most people in the world have seen Frozen the movie, we do have to take into consideration anyone who hasn't seen it. Someone like my husband who is going with someone who loves the material but doesn't know anything about it, it really needs to translate regardless. It's like, you know, we all think everyone knows Phantom of the Opera, but there are still people who haven't seen it, which is why it's still running for so long. So anyway, I think that overall I would give Frozen probably maybe like a 7 out of 10. I think that in most cases they nailed it, and I think that it would have been really different if I had seen Patty Murin and Casey. I'm not sure actually. Would it have been different, or is that just the direction that they went with Anna? I don't know, but I did love it, and I probably would go again. I would just suffer through Heige because that was the only moment that I truly, truly hated. But other than that, I think it was pretty good. So I would definitely recommend it, especially if you're going with kids. We didn't go with a child, but if you are, even better. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say. If you have any questions about understudy performances, about the show, what I thought of a specific moment, or you just want to talk about it, feel free to comment down below and we'll talk about it. And I'll keep doing this for other shows that I'm seeing since y'all seem to enjoy it. The only one that I am choosing not to do a review for on here is Getting the Band Back Together, and the reason for that is that it's already announced as closing, so there's not really any point in beating a dead horse.